I understand everyone is anxious for the details, as are we, and we're moving forward to the extent we can. And we're hopeful that the final order will come soon with more information for tariff development. I will point out a few items that I thought were kind of key in the directive, but again, we need to wait on the order before taking further action on the tariff. So in item 1, you see the commission is laying out use of rate 5 TOU, time of use rate, for residential customers. So that will certainly be a change. You could do NIM under TOU before, but we had very few people doing that. They have specified a minimum bill, but they go on to say, they give some numbers in there, but they just also say that that's a placeholder pending some further action by the commission in the rate case and other open dockets, I believe. Under bullet 3, they're going to maintain annual netting, but crediting the excess on-peak generation against on-peak usage. And the same for off-peak. So off-peak generation will be credited against off-peak usage, which is a little different than today. Number 4 is the non-residential customer generation take service under rate 16, which is a small general service TOU rate. 5 and 6 kind of echo the same thing about how we're going to credit on-peak versus on-peak and off-peak versus off-peak, as well as crediting the annual excess at avoided cost at the end of the year. That happens in November. And finally, the customer generation have the right and title to own and transfer RECs attributable to their generation. So previously under the DER programs, we maintained ownership of the RECs. All right, let's go to the next slide. All right, this is the current desk rate 5 TOU tariff for residential customers. It's available on our website today. You can go look at it. And again, this is what the commission said that customer generators would take service under. Next slide, you can see that it defines the on and off peak periods and then also the rates for on and off peak generation. All right, next slide, Roxanne. All right, this is desk rate 16, which is the non-residential TOU tariff. You can see it's much the same as far as the on-peak and off-peak hours. And again, this is available on our website as well. If you go to desk, go to rates, you can find electric rate 16. Don't look at the gas rates. You can see the numbers there as well. So with that, I'll say I'll take questions if we have time, but I understand I might not be able to answer solar choice specific questions because again, we're still awaiting that order. Okay, if no questions, I guess we'll move on to the next utility update, Roxanne.
All right. Jason Martin with Duke Energy is up next.
All right, thanks, Roxanne. Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to share with you a little bit about where we are with Duke. And since Mark introduced sort of where we are in the utility space right now, you'll hear a couple of things that are similar in topic, and I'll give you a few details as well from Duke's standpoint. So kind of where we are. This first slide is a description of where we are today, and with what Duke is expecting from the kind of short-term look we've got here between now and May 31st. So residentially, we continue to have customers apply for the net metering service, and it continues to grow. If you see here, we're somewhere in the neighborhood of 120 megawatts in South Carolina based on this table. And we will continue to receive applications until May 31st, 2021 for the current net metering offer. So if customers are weighing out different options, there is a deadline to receive the current net metering offer. As Mark said, on June 1st, 2021, we will have the new solar choice tariff to be implemented by utilities. And to his point about the directive that they've received, Duke has not yet received a directive. We have only been through our hearing and are waiting for the commission to take action. So our next steps are still to be done. On the commercial side, from a net metering standpoint, we also continue to receive applications under the current provision through May 31st with a new rate effective in June 1st, 2021. And I'll cover some of those details on my next slide. From the utility perspective, the larger solar farms that are being proposed and requested, we're continuing to work on queue reform to help with the management of the interconnection request. Hopefully later this year, we will have all of that preliminary work done as far as the filing requirements and approvals and begin working on the implementation. The idea there is Duke is moving from a serial queue arrangement to more of a cluster study approach, so that we'll have a window of application acceptance open up. When that window closes, we'll study those projects that have come in and be able to respond to them in a timely fashion, a more timely fashion, hopefully, than what we've experienced otherwise. It also removes some of the time delay with interdependencies and the other study requirements for projects ahead of any one particular project that may be in the queue. Hopefully this is going to work out. We do have some work to do to transition between the serial queue and the cluster approach. And we've outlined a path forward for that and recognize that there may be a couple of things we've got to manage from a timing standpoint. But once we have the filings approved by the different regulators, I think we'll be able to identify that process. And we'll certainly be sharing that information out with the interested parties. We also recently filed a avoided cost proceeding, the second one under Act 62. It was filed yesterday on May 17th. So if you have interest in the filing or what's being said to start that process, please go out to the PSC website and you can garner some information there. Given the fact that it's starting here in May, sometime latter part of this year, we would expect to have that proceeding complete and know the outcome of the avoided cost. From a utility scale perspective, we have 89 projects in South Carolina that are operating or under construction for a total of 415 megawatts. We continue to have projects come through the queue, even as we're looking at the queue reform and making some changes. Generally speaking, they're smaller projects because of some of the constraints we have on our system right now for interconnection. But hopefully we'll continue to see that move, that total increase and move along as we get through queue reform and get more projects through the study process. Another advent for utility scale, in March, we opened up our Green Source Advantage program. This is an opportunity for customers that may want to pursue renewable energy to negotiate with a renewable supplier and establish a PPA or terms for purchase from a project or projects for their capacity on our system. And the customer negotiates with the renewable supplier. The renewable supplier and the customer bring to Duke an application, and we review the application and help to facilitate getting the project connected, as well as the customer set up to receive benefits from there. The way the program works is the PPA from the customer and the renewable suppliers negotiated on their terms, and Duke pays a system value of avoided cost for that energy and provides a bill credit to the customer for that energy as well. If there's interest, it's probably better to talk through those details individually than try to cover it in a few minutes. But please reach out to myself or some other folks at Duke if you have some questions about it. The program design has 200 megawatts allocated for it, 150 megawatts in the DEC footprint and 50 megawatts in the DEP footprint. Also within those allocations, there's a carve out for government and educational customers, so they can take advantage of that as well if they're interested. Let's see. The customer benefits from this by also receiving the RECs from the project, and they can determine what to do with them at that point, if they want to file them for their own compliance or management, or possibly put them out on the market. In our community solar space, under Act 236, we did a shared solar program where we brought 4 megawatts, 3 in DEC and 1 megawatt in DEP online for customers to participate. We're very happy with the success of this program. We have it fully subscribed between our market rate customers and the LMI, low to moderate income customers that have participated to the point where we have a waiting list. And so if there are customers who may be interested in shared solar right now, they can put their name on the waiting list. And if we have customers transition through moving or for some reason decide to forego the program, then that opportunity will be for the next customer on the waiting list to participate. The community solar program, which Act 62 has contemplated, we've begun work there with a stakeholder group to identify what a path may be to go forward with community solar. There's a good number of questions that have come up in how we might go about putting the program together, how the pricing of the program would be, how do we meet the requirements of Act 62. So we're going through that process to be sure that we can deliver a product or a service that is beneficial to the customer. In other words, they are interested and want to participate and also meets the requirements of Act 62. We're watching some of the other proceedings we have. Both the avoided cost proceeding will have some impact, and potentially what we're seeing in the net metering proceeding, we're just wanting to identify maybe some options that may come out of that proceeding as well once we hear back from the commission, to give us some options on what we may consider going forward as well for community solar. All right, next slide, please, Roxanne. All right, so much as Mark described, the solar choice metering tariff, from Duke's perspective right now, we have filed the tariff. We've been through the hearings and of course have not heard much back from the PSC in the way of a directive or an outcome. So we're awaiting that and looking forward to what direction and guidance they'll give us to be able to implement it. The way we're approaching it is a little different than what Dominion has done. And it's primarily because Duke is in the process of working on our billing system. We're moving over to an SAP platform, and it's a bit challenging to shift the company over that well. And so in coordinating this work to be able to deliver the billing capability, Duke has proposed that we would put an interim solar choice tariff in place. And this would be for applications that are received between June 1st and December 31st of this year. The offer is to continue the full retail net metering as we currently do, but instead of carry over the excess energy from month to month, we'll actually settle up and provide a credit for that excess energy to the customer based upon avoided cost. So if a customer is interested in that aspect of it, that'll be the offer that is available for applications during that time. It is a little different than what we currently have. So if someone's kind of weighing out some differences, they may want to consider both options and see where we are. But again, we still have not received the approval from the commission yet. It's just what we've got proposed. To work with the customers on this, looking at it in an interim fashion, we've also established a cap. So if we receive applications in DEC more than 1200 kW or DEP more than 300 kW, we'll establish a waiting list to go to the next month. The customers won't have to reapply. If you're first on the waiting list, you'll be first on the allocation of the next month. But we're just trying to make sure we manage this interim process as best we can and be able to coordinate with the customer demands based upon how we're going to respond to working through, again, our billing system, our capability to manage the request and still have a satisfied customer along the way. So once we get through the interim period past December 31st, the solar choice tariff will be made available. That way, the customers can begin to take advantage of that. If a customer has selected the interim solar choice tariff and wants to transfer over to the full solar choice tariff in January, they'll be allowed to do that. That option is available for them anytime after January 1st. The tariff design on the solar choice tariff is a time of use rate, and the details are on the Public Service Commission website. It's probably easier to read through there than it was for me to put them in a slide. But I encourage you to go out and look over that and see what questions may come up. We do intend to have a seminar, webinar that will explain some of these details once we have the order from the commission to make sure that the parties involved, everybody who has interest, can understand what's involved with it. And of course, we'll have updates on the website as well. The concept is we'll have netting of energy within pricing periods. So on peak to on peak energy is netted if it's excess or generated and gone back to the utility grid. Off peak would be the same. And then Duke actually has a super off peak, but it's from midnight to 6 a.m. So I don't expect too much solar activity at that time. But if it were, that period would be netted as well. The netting of the energy takes place over the billing month. So that is similar to what we see now. It's just the time periods would be a little different. And then the excess energy, if there's any at the end of the month, would be credited towards the customer's bill at the approved avoided cost for that month. So whatever we currently have in place. The offer also includes an energy efficiency component for solar. We have filed that. There'll be some time involved before it's available, but that would be something that may be incentive for customers to consider as well once we complete that process. On the non-residential side, our solar choice tariff is going to just move from the current netting provision where you've got the carryover from month to month to just monthly netting with a settlement at the end of the billing month. The excess energy that would be generated after the month would be credited again at avoided cost. The non-residential customers also will have access to RECs if they would like. There will be a fee for us to report and provide that information to them of $1.50 per REC. So if a non-residential customer is interested in that would be an avenue to get those attributes. We also at Duke are interested in understanding more about the non-residential solar profile. And during our work on the solar choice tariff, we negotiated out to have a second meter installed, which if y'all may remember with Act 236, utilities did that as well to kind of capture the solar generation. So we want to do that to be able to see what the non-residential solar profile may look like as we go forward looking at rate options and programs and other things of that nature. So if a customer is willing to install a second meter for that generation, the cost of the REC will be lowered to 65 cents instead of the $1.50. So as customers make applications, we'll be asking about that and be able to incorporate that option for them. The generation meter option, the physical meter itself, will be limited to 300 customers in DEC and 400 customers in DEP. That's what we feel like we need from a sample size to be able to gather this information. It does not limit the customers who may want to have RECs. It's just that the metering option would only be available for those numbers and receive that discounted rate. So that's what we have proposed right now with the solar choice tariff. And looking forward to the order from the PSC. We'd like to get things squared away with June 1st fast approaching. But we'll have to wait on them for a few activities on our side to begin. And with that, Roxanne, I'll accept a question or two if we need to, or I can wait till the end.
We'll put all questions till the end, but anywho, we're going to jump over to Sandy Cooper with Robert Redmond.
Yeah, I got it. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Can you hear me? Yeah, I may need to get you to click the screen a couple of times just to get everything to come up. I must not have updated it from whenever I actually gave this or a type of this presentation in person. Either way, I'll go ahead and just jump into it. For the 2021 our 2021 residential and commercial solar program, we offered a rebate of up to about $6,300. How that breaks down for our program is that's a $1.05 per watt of alternating current that's installed. We cap all of our rebates at about 6 kW or at exactly 6 kW. So that's kind of how that math works out. And as of yesterday, we had 77 rooftop or residential rooftop installations completed so far this year. I was looking at this presentation a little bit earlier after we had sent it in, that the 1.3 megawatts of solar generation, that's actually going to be the amount of generation that we have throughout the entire pipeline. So that 77 customers plus the 112 or plus the 112 customers that have not yet been completed would equal out to about that 1.3 megawatts. So that's what we're projecting at this moment in time for the end of the year. Obviously, we expect that number to increase as the program year continues on, but that's currently where we are. We have seen the average size of systems decline a little bit. We've been seeing them get a little bit matched a little closer to kind of what our rebate offering is. And also with the way that our rate is structured, sizing a solar array to best meet what that customer's needs is oftentimes the biggest payback for them financially, or the quickest payback for them financially. So that's a good sign for our program and for our residential customers. For our commercial customers here in Horry County, we have seen some interest in it's a combination of features as to where a customer or a commercial customer may want to install not only their solar generation, but also energy storage as far as, batteries, things of that nature. And also, while also installing an electric vehicle charger. So we're seeing how those three different technologies can kind of all interact with one, and how we can best help this customer, set this up not only to where it's most beneficial for them, but also for Santee Cooper as a utility. Because, whenever we see a situation like this or an opportunity like this, it gives us a chance to really see, what we can do to be mutually beneficial for both us and our customers. One impact that we have seen, and this not only goes for our solar programs, but also for our commercial energy services programs, as far as, energy efficiency, installing HVAC systems, lighting, pumps and motors, things of that nature. COVID-19 has really affected the Horry County area. And the reason why, my main understanding of as to why is we have a lot of this is mainly a touristy area. So whenever you have a lot of resorts and restaurants and things like that aren't seeing the income for 6, 8, 12 months that they're used to seeing, it kind of puts them in a survival mode. So you haven't really seen a lot of energy efficient upgrades, nor renewable energy upgrades as we have in the past. Now we're starting to kind of dig out of that as things open up further and further. But I still think that just having that 1 year of not really making the income that they would expect to make it's gonna slow things here for a little while, is my impression. But that also gave us the opportunity to kind of reach out to some of our nonprofits and kind of see if there was different things that we could offer to them. And one offering that we were able to really push towards them was our solar share, our community solar program. The reason being is because we actually offer a larger rebate to our nonprofit customers, because they're not able to take part in receiving any of the tax credits, or our income tax credits. But in doing so, you're looking at your market segment, you find out, okay, who are the customers that are eligible for this? Well, we find it's a lot of churches, things of that nature. Well, a church that's open 2 or 3 days a week may not be consuming energy the way that you would expect them to consume energy. So one of the things that we learned in this process is, whenever we're calculating out our return on investment for these nonprofits, churches, that just as an example, it's having that integral data, having that, what kind of energy consumption are they consuming through all hours of the day, is almost vital, because they're not a 9-to-5 business. So it's a little different in calculating out what their savings were. So that was something that was good to learn, and something that we can use moving forward in addressing that market, or that segment of the market. Just moving on to our utility scale. I know there's been a lot of information in the news about Santee Cooper and our reform plan. I'm happy to say that, in conjunction with a partnership with Central, the cooperative, we've been able to go ahead and accept bids for 500 megawatts of solar energy to be installed so far. Moving forward, according to our plan, we could see up to about 1,000 more megawatts of generation installed by 2024, with an additional 500 megawatts installed by 2031. Excuse me. So that's great news for at least, for solar in general. And I'm happy to see that we've been able to go ahead and get the contracts accepted for the first 500 megawatts. So that first step is always the hardest, but it's a good one. So just moving on, with our community solar program that I mentioned earlier, it's our Colleton County Solar Farm that we're selling these subscriptions out of. Currently that contract is in place until 2033. So any customer that joins our buys into one of those subscriptions will have ownership of it until December 31st of 2033. Currently we have 161 customers that are taking part in that program. We've added 8 this year. Actually had a meeting this morning with some folks internally, and we've been reaching out to some customers who have shown interest in solar in the past, and we've seen a little bit of a pop in the customers that are at least asking questions about our solar share program. So that's a good sign. So looking forward to see what all of that yields, but most definitely. Can you go to the next slide, please? This is just just our special highlights here to go along with the 1,500 megawatts of solar generation that we're looking to add to the mix in the coming years. We're also looking to add 200 megawatts of energy storage. So our utility scale energy storage. So looking forward to see how all of that pans out, and once we get it up and running, and the different things you can do with that technology and with that capability. So looking forward to it. Just to give a quick rundown of the solar farms that we have already completed. Some of these have been out there for a while. To go along with Colleton County, which is roughly about a 2 megawatt farm. We've got the Bell Bay Solar Farm, which is about 1.5 megawatts. It'll power about 204 homes. It installed on underutilized land. Just moving on, the Jameson Solar Farm, that was actually in Tri-County Electric Cooperatives territory, so it's a conjunction with them. It's a solar farm that would power about 160 homes, so it's a decent one. And then our latest and greatest one that's been completed and been up and generating is Runway Solar Farms, which is here in Horry County, and it's near the Myrtle Beach Jetport. It's on a 17-acre tract of land that was not being used previously. One of the really cool things about it is we actually had to do a study on it to make sure that the reflection of the sun off of the panels wouldn't distract pilots as they're coming in from their descent. So that we found out that it wouldn't. So anybody that's flying into Myrtle Beach, don't worry, our solar farm's not going to kill you. So that's always a positive. But other than that, that's really what I've got for you today. So if you have any questions or anything, feel free to let me know.
Great, thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to talk over to Stephen now, and he's going to give an update from the Central Electric Co-op.
Can you hear me, Roxanne?
Sure can.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Stephen Strickland here. I work for Blue Ridge Electric up here in Pickens County, Pickens, South Carolina area. I had the opportunity to give the utility update for Central. As most of y'all know, it's combined of 20 co-ops throughout South Carolina. We have over 800,000 meters. We serve in all 46 counties throughout the state. We have no base load, but we do have 2 long-term power purchase agreements with Santee Cooper and Duke. All right. The solar capacity, the big thing for the co-ops is the community solar. 18 out of the 20 co-ops have community solar on their system. It's 4.2 megawatts to date. There's up to 5 megawatts planned for completion. Berkeley Co-op just went online with their community solar. They're located out of Mont's Corner. That their solar farm went online in December, And they are the first battery integrated system with their community solar. On the residential side, out of the 20 co-ops, there's 4,200 solar systems installed for 33 megawatts total. All right. A little bit about the co-op, Berkeley Co-op's solar battery system. The system's 154 kW DC, 120 kW DC AC system, and it was installed by Alder Energy. Estimated production is 230,000 kilowatt hours a year. The battery system is two Tesla power packs, and systems. The battery size is 116 kW AC, and it'll store about 464 kilowatt hours. I'm gonna put Eddie Plowden on the spot here. I don't know if he wants to jump on and say anything. I don't know if we can do that, Roxanne, about this. I saw he was on earlier.
Yeah, I'm on. There's really nothing more to add other than the system is going to be used from all different angles by Central to study the value using solars matched up with solar matched up with batteries, just like Dominion and Duke, looking at how batteries can integrate into the system, whether it be time of day, load balancing, all the different ways that the batteries can do to help our system. We're trying to get the value out of them. So that, going forward, obviously there's going to be a lot of opportunities for batteries. But, I appreciate it. Thank you, Stephen.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no problem. Thank you, Eddie. Sorry to put you on the spot, but I didn't have a chance to touch base with you. Personally, I'm excited about that system. I grew up in the Moncks Corner area, so I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with that. All right, Roxanne. So I think there might be some overlap, but here's some solar systems that Central has worked with over the last couple of years. Is the Horry County Schools. Volvo has their system. I think Central and Santa Cooper and even Berkeley and Edisto Co-op work together on this. And then what was just talked about earlier, I think let me get my notes here. The request for proposal may have gone up a little bit. These are 2020 numbers. But yeah, I think that's it for Central. We're just kind of working together with Duke, the Santa Coopers, and everyone.
Great, thank you, Stephen. Let's keep about maybe 10 minutes if we want to open up the floor for questions for our utilities. And then I'll use that time just a little bit to get back to Nick's presentation. Does anyone have any questions? So we're going to take turns.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes, hello.
All right. Sorry about that.
Before we go over, do you have any questions for our utility representatives?
Yep. All right. So Solar Matrix will be hopefully potentially put on the South Carolina Solar Council website. We've got a good start to it so far, trying to just provide all the information for the solar programs, net metering programs, however you want to classify them, for all of our utilities in the state. I think we're going to have at least 23 or so listed on here, eventually having everything complete for the matrix. The biggie is an ongoing process of updating it throughout this year, specifically once we hear back from Duke and Dominion on what they're going to get approved for their programs moving forward as of June 1st of this year, and then January 1st of next year. And then, it's an ongoing matrix, at least with solar contractors on the residential scale. I'm sure everyone feels it on the commercial and utility scale too. But one of the things that I've found, and I know the utility representatives appreciate it, and I've really appreciated it when I was working with Santee Cooper, is that because there's so many different moving factors here with, Palmetto Electric down in the Beaufort County area, they do not charge, they have a $17 a month fee, but they offer one-to-one net metering. And then when we get up into Monk's Corner, no monthly fee, but excess DG is credited at 6 cents a kilowatt hour. If we get over to Santee Cooper, it's a capacity per kW per month and avoided costs. And then we have Ori Electric, where they have a flat fee of $57 a month, and they're paying a little less than 3 cents a kilowatt hour for DG. So we're really hoping to get this information out there. So not only customers that could potentially go solar can go to this and start getting a good sense of what they should expect with their electric cooperative, but I think it's most importantly for the contractors that are going to be potentially working with solar customers that want to go solar, so they can be sure that they have all the information that they need to present savings analysis on what people should expect from the financial aspects of a solar energy system with the different utilities and cooperatives. I know when I was with Santee Cooper, when we launched the program in 2016 that had the standby charge and then the avoided cost rate, it was kind of newer to everyone. And I tried my hardest to get out there and train, or at least inform all the contractors what this program was going to be like. And then, a lot of customers wouldn't realize that they were now going to have a monthly fee or have lower rates for energy they sold back to the utility or getting credited back for. That would be half of what they were expecting from the analysis that maybe a solar proposal was showing them. And I know that, unfortunately, I know several solar contractors had to go to, somehow figure out how to remedy the problem with the customer about their savings. And I know that there was a lot of legal action that was taken back then because of the proposals. Some would say a 5-year payback, and it would be more like a 13-year payback. My thing with this is going to always, I think we'll need to have a disclaimer, is if you are a customer or a contractor and you are interested in moving forward with a solar project with your specific utility electric provider, that you just go ahead and contact a representative from the utility to make sure you fully understand it. And my favorite example is Central Electric Cooperative. They actually have 3 different options where, one, they don't charge a monthly fee, and but you don't get any credit for any of the energy exported to the grid. Or you go to option 2 and you do get the energy credited back at a lower rate than the retail rate, but you have a $42 a month fee. Then they even have a third option where if a property has 2 meters on it, you could actually aggregate some of the savings from one meter onto the other meter on the on the customer's property. So I think this would be good for folks to kind of make sure that they're understanding what they're going to be doing with solar. And I think it'll be an ongoing process to get it updated. We will have the rest of the electric cooperatives in the next couple of weeks completed on here. And of course, share it with everyone on the board to make sure everything's looking good before we update it anymore onto the website. Anybody have any questions there? Hello. Okay.
I do want to say thank you for all your hard work in this matrix. We've been working with utilities throughout, and even a little bit this morning. But just everyone, please remember, this is going to be a continuously evolving kind of matrix. We're going to try to, on the website, timestamp it, just note last updated at this time. So please always reference that. We know these can change what appears to be overnight. It's not really, but if you are a utility representative, if you see any issues on this, or if you have any updates in the future, please feel free to email us at the scsolarcouncil@gmail.com and just help us keep this updated. Our biggest goal here is just to educate, whether it's, as Nick said, whether it's a installer or a resident. We just want to make sure everybody has the best information that we can provide them. And we look forward to adding more references, not just in the matrix, but also just anything to help make solar more approachable to our installers and our residents throughout the state. Not seeing any questions in the chat. All right, I think we may be ending early today, guys, if no one has anything else to say. Thank you to all of our presenters and to all of our solar champions. Thank you to everyone who attended today. It was nice to see good many of our previous board members that are on the call. We have Tara and Don and Eddie, where she spoke up a little bit, and a few others. So it's good to see everybody still coming back and visiting us. And we hope you enjoyed our presentation. We are hoping to, again, very loosely, our goal is to be back in person. Hey guys. But our goal is to possibly have a fall event with proper precautions, depending on how this 2021 evolves. But we hopefully will see you all back in person soon. And in the meantime, I do believe we're going to have another webinar in June. And we'll get back to you about that. Probably now July. Let's get real. We'll probably have one in July. But either way, we'll keep you posted via email. And thank you all for joining us.
Thank you, Roxanne.
Thank you, Roxanne.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good job. Thank you.